homeschool moms, and welcome back to another Homeschool Q&A. I've been making Homeschool Q&A videos like this one every Friday right here on my channel, so make sure to go back and check out previous Q&A videos. Now, this is going to be my last Homeschool Q&A video for 2018. I'd like to take December off and just enjoy time with my family and celebrate Christmas. But I am going to have videos out for you on Tuesdays still, so you will still see me through December, just on Tuesdays, not on Fridays though. And in the new year, I am still deciding on whether or not I'm going to be doing homeschool Q&As on a regular basis, or if I'm just going to intermix them with other content that I have on my channel, because I have some things in the works to encourage you homeschool moms, and I would really like to be able to invest a little bit more time into getting some of those projects finished and out to you. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in this video. But this video is a homeschool Q&A video, so let's jump in and start answering your questions. The first question is, do you participate in homeschool co-ops? Well, yes, we do sometimes, and other years we don't. And every different area and state is a little bit different in terms of how you define co-ops. So when we lived in California, where we were, they had support groups, a homeschool support group. This was a group that we joined and paid a small membership fee for $25 to $35, depending on the year. And that gave us access to their monthly park days. It gave us access to field trips and other activities. It also gave me access to Mom's Night Out and different moms events for encouraging homeschool moms. But some of those groups, not all of them, but some of those support groups had co-ops. And that was class day, where moms came in and worked together, and mom might teach one class and another mom might just help watch kids or whatever. But it was where my kids and I could go, and my kids could take classes with other homeschool kids. So I know some places co-ops are actually considered more of like a support group, and so everybody kind of thinks of co-ops a little bit differently. But for me, when I'm talking about co-ops, I'm talking about class days. So I found co-ops to be a great option for my kids and me when we were in the beginning of our homeschooling journey, because it allowed me to make friends with other homeschool moms and for my kids to make friends. It was really hard for us to connect with people when we were just seeing them once a month at park day or possibly on a field trip or something like that. So just seeing them on a consistent basis, most of our co-ops were weekly, that really helped my kids to connect and make friends, and for me to make friends with other homeschool moms. Then we found that we kind of had our friends. We had our little group, and we didn't necessarily need co-op anymore to meet friends. And so then we really moved to using co-op more for classes and the classes that my children needed. And so there were some years when we were just set with the curriculum that we were using, and I really didn't need my kids to do a lot of extra stuff. And so we didn't do co-op. Then there were seasons where I wanted, my daughter to take a writing class, or I wanted her to get a lab class in, or I wanted my son to take a Lego class. And so then we would do co-ops. And how it usually worked out is we did co-ops one year, we got burnt out, and we took the next year off, but then we started missing friends, so then we did it the next year. And so we kind of did it every other year. Now, I did a blog post over on my blog at JanelleKnutson.com where I shared kind of the pros and cons of homeschool co-ops and gave you some things to think about if you're deciding if a co-op would be a great option or not for your family. So I will link to that blog post down below in the description. The next question is, how have you done standardized testing? Well, I've only done standardized testing once for one of my children. That was early on in my homeschooling journey, and I really wanted my daughter to take the standardized test for me. I wanted to know how good I was doing, or to be honest, I wanted to know how bad I was failing at this homeschooling thing. So I had her take the standardized test. She ended up doing really well, which was a good confidence boost for me. And we just never did standardized testing again, because in California, where we were homeschooling privately, and you don't have to do standardized testing in California if you are homeschooling privately. So I just decided not to do it again. Now, different states are different in terms of if they require standardized testing or not. We did that one standardized test through our support group. So the homeschool support group that we were a part of, a couple of the moms organized it so that we could do standardized testing. I'm not really sure how they pulled that all off, but that's where we did the standardized testing. I think the best place, or maybe two places to look if you want to do standardized testing for your child and you're not sure how to go about doing that, is look to see if you have a state homeschool organization. In California, we had Christian Home Educators Association of California, so it was CHEA. I know here in Idaho, it used to be Choice, and now I think it's Homeschool Idaho. And so different states usually have some kind of state homeschool organization. It's not supported by the state, but it is a statewide organization for homeschoolers, and they probably have a lot of good resources in helping you find where you can do standardized testing. Another great resource is probably HSLDA, which is Homeschool Legal Defense Association. If you're a member of HSLDA, you can just call them up or shoot them an email and ask them if they know where you can take standardized testing in your area. So I've only done it once. I didn't have to do it. It wasn't a requirement for me, and I just found that I just didn't think it was necessary. It doesn't mean that I'll never do standardized testing for any of my kids ever again. Just something that I did once and felt like so far I haven't needed to do that again. So that's kind of the one time I did standardized testing. So I know that's not a whole lot of help for you, but hopefully your state homeschool organization or HSLDA can help you. Or also look at your support group, your local support groups. I'm sure some of the moms there might have a good idea of where you can do standardized testing, or they might organize a day for homeschoolers to come together and take a particular standardized test. So hope that was helpful. The next question is, what are some ways you occupy your toddler during school time? Well, this is a loaded question. I do an entire workshop, an hour-long workshop at Homeschool Conventions on homeschooling big kids with little ones underfoot, and I feel like I can't even cover everything in that 1 hour. So that is why, and I'm giving you a little insight into those little projects and things that I have in the works. I am going to be putting together some courses for homeschool moms, and one of the ones that I'm thinking about doing is a course on homeschooling big kids with little ones underfoot, to give you encouragement and a lot of different practical tips for homeschooling with little ones underfoot at different stages, because there are some of you who are homeschooling a baby with an elementary age student. Some of you are homeschooling a baby with a high schooler. Some of you are trying to figure out how to do a toddler or a preschool with a middle schooler. And so there's a lot of different combinations that we have as homeschool families in terms of the ages of our older kids and the ages and the needs of our younger ones. And so I'm going to be hopefully putting a course together for you that goes into a lot of detail and has a lot of encouragement on this topic. I also shared in a previous video, one of my older ones, on my #1 tip for homeschooling big kids with little ones underfoot. And I'll give you the short version here, and I'll link to it, the longer version, I'll link to it down below in the description. But that #1 tip is really to spend time with your little ones first. Before you jump into the school day with your big kids, spend time, invest some time with your little ones. And that doesn't guarantee that your little one is going to behave and stay out of the way the rest of the day. Actually, I can almost guarantee that they're not going to stay out of the way, because they're little and they need our time and attention and love and guidance and direction. But sometimes that can help them to be more likely to play by themselves and not interrupt as much because they've already had some of your one-on-one time. And you know what? If it doesn't help at all with the homeschooling, it will help with your relationship with your child, with your little one. A couple other tips, and these are just the tip of the iceberg, but I can't go into all the detail because like I said, I do an hour workshop and I still feel like I have so much more information to share with you about how to homeschool big kids with little ones underfoot. But another great thing is to have special toys that only come out during school time so that your little one knows that, hey, these toys are out and they're not going to be out for very long. I want to play with them. Also is a good idea to have some school supplies for them, just some special things that they can play with or school things that they can do school. Feel like they are being a part of the school day with the big kids. So those are just a couple ways to occupy your toddler. But like I said, I'm hopefully, Lord willing, be praying for me, but hopefully I'm going to get a course out to you that is just going to be a lot more comprehensive than what I can share in a YouTube video or even at a homeschool convention. The fourth question had to do with classical conversations. And one of you asked, have I ever tried classical conversations? The short answer to that is no, we have never done classical conversations. Now that is not because I don't believe in it or think it's good. Actually, there have been many times that I have looked at classical conversations and considered it as an option for my family in our homeschooling journey. For us, it just wasn't practical in terms of the cost of doing it. When I was looking at it, I was really looking at for my middle schooler at the time, and I just saw that it was just going to be too expensive for us at that time. Another reason is because we have a hard enough time sticking to a co-op schedule where with co-op, it's usually extracurricular activities, so I don't feel as bad if we miss a co-op day. But we just, with a large family and having little ones underfoot, it is just so hard for me to stick to a schedule. I need to homeschool year round and have lots of time, spaces to just drop the ball and take a breather and not do school. And so for me, I just realized classical conversations, it's all scheduled out in a somewhat normal school year time frame. And I just felt like that was going to be too much pressure for me and my kids in the seasons of homeschooling that we have been in. Something that I might consider in the future for sure. But right now, it is just not something that I just think would be as beneficial for my family as just doing co-ops and our own curriculum at home. Now, that being said, I know I have so many friends who do classical conversations who absolutely love it. From what I have seen, it is a great curriculum. It is a great community of homeschool families. And so I do recommend it, just not something that I have tried because as homeschoolers, we can't try everything. There just isn't enough time to try everything. So classical conversations is one that I have looked at, I've considered, but time and time again, just come back and realize it's just not going to be a good fit for my family in the different seasons that we've been in. So, but I do encourage you, if you're looking into it, check it out because it does seem to be a really good option and a great fit for a lot of families. The next question is, do you recommend any particular homeschool convention? Yes, actually, as I mentioned earlier, with standardized testing, most states have a statewide organization for homeschooling, and many of those statewide homeschool organizations put on homeschool conventions. Those would be the conventions that I encourage you to look into first. Now, sometimes, depending on the state and the homeschool organization, sometimes they have huge conventions with big name speakers and tons of vendors, and it's awesome and it's amazing. Other times, those state homeschool organizations are on a little smaller scale. There might not be the well-known speakers, there might not be as big of a vendor hall, but let me tell you, you're still gonna go and be encouraged. I'm almost certain you're still gonna be really encouraged. The reason I encourage you to check out your state homeschool convention first is because the other conventions while they are great and excellent, have amazing speakers, and can be a fabulous encouragement to you, they are coming in, doing the convention, and leaving. They're not going to provide you ongoing support. Your state homeschool organization is there year-round to encourage you, to help you if you have questions about how to homeschool in that particular state. They are there for you. And so by going to them, you are kind of helping them to have the money and the resources to then be able to not only support you throughout the rest of the year by answering questions that you have, but also by monitoring legislation in the state that might hurt or hinder the homeschool movement in that state. And so our local our state homeschool organizations are really, really important. I think sometimes when we're thinking about going to a convention, we're really just thinking about what we can get out of it. And yes, that is important as homeschool moms. Go to a convention so that you can be encouraged and blessed. But when you go to a state homeschool convention, you are not only being blessed yourself, but you are then going to be able to bless that homeschool organization by giving them some money so they can continue on blessing you. So it's like it just comes right back around to us. So that's the convention that I say, hey, consider that one first. If you've got a state homeschool convention that you can get to, I'd encourage you to go to that one. Another homeschool convention, though, that I have not been to, but I know is really wonderful, is Teach Them Diligently. I know the heart and the mission behind that convention is just one of encouraging homeschool families to not only homeschool our kids, but to disciple our kids and to raise them up for the glory of the Lord. So that would be another one that I would recommend. And right along with that question, I got a question about what homeschool conventions am I going to be speaking at in 2019? Well, last summer, I decided that I was not going to be doing a lot of speaking in 2019. We just had a really busy summer with moving, and I realized that that was good for that season, but this next summer, I really needed to make sure that I was spending time investing in my family. And so if I do speak at a homeschool convention, it will be only one. And right now, it looks like I will be speaking at one particular homeschool convention. I'm kind of waiting on the final contract to sign to make it all official. And once I do that, I will let you know what homeschool convention that is going to be. But this 2019, I'm just going to really focus on my family and also all of those homeschool courses that I am hoping to create and get out to you. So be praying for me as I try to figure out all the technical stuff. Oh my goodness. I've got the outlines already created for the courses, but the technical stuff of audio and video and PowerPoint and getting it all up there and in a format that you guys can purchase and download, there is a lot to it. So be praying for me. If I don't get it done, it's probably mostly because I can't figure out the technical stuff. So love your prayers for that. But I will only be speaking most likely at one homeschool convention this year. But if you can't make it to that one homeschool convention that I'm going to be speaking at, you just might be able to pick up a course for homeschool moms and be encouraged and blessed that way. So I'm super excited about these courses because I know I can't ever go speak at every single homeschool convention, and I can't even cover everything sometimes in 1 hour. So I'm really, really excited to be getting these courses out to you. Be praying for me and enjoy your Christmas season. I will still see you on Tuesdays throughout December. I've got some videos coming your way, and then of course I will see you right here on my YouTube channel in the new year as well. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I will see you on Tuesdays throughout the month of December, and then I will see you in the new year.